Hey, what is up, guys? And welcome back to another Magic the Gathering online league. We're back with Basking Broodscale on the draw for game 1. And we're looking for Blade and a payoff. Steam Vent Shock. Prowess? Is it Prowess? Looking like Prowess. Okay. Bobble Trigger. There's at least 2 types in Yard for DRC. Keeps it on top though. Oh, will target me? No. Okay, there's our Blade. So Saga, Trigger, Pass. So I think we'll end up going Basiju Rumble. And we're looking for a payoff. So mainly Ballista, Emrakul. If they tap out... No, I mean, we don't have it next turn. We have it in 2 turns. DRC attack, down to 19. Okay. And... draw. Saga number 2. I guess Beseiju can hit Corey Steelcut in a pinch. So Windswept Teeth. Windswept Teeth fetch. Don't need the breeding pool, so Forest. Rumble. Does Rumble resolve? It does, with on command. Unfortunately, I suppose grab the Halfling. We have a plethora of lands. So grab the Halfling and pass. And we can go for the Broodscale next turn. Then we just have like an infinitely big Broodscale, but nothing much thereafter unless we draw into a payoff. There's a Dart. Interesting. Bob will target me. 3 types in Yard. And pass. Yeah, unfortunate about the K command. Ping cost. EI. Okay. EI is fine. I guess they could sack this, or not sack the spawn, but Lava Dart the spawn in response to me trying to either equip or even casting the Broodscale, which is the only downside there. Huh. Maybe casting Rumble is right instead? Monastery Swift Spear into exile. So they're going to be tapped out with the exception of Dart. This is 7. Potentially... Okay, so 7, 8. 8 down to 10. Alright. I mean, there's no way that they'll let me equip without using the Dart, right? Eight down to 10. They're just gonna hold the Dart. Three cards in hand, gonna be 5 after the bobble. End step. Draw. There's Blade. If we go Springleaf, token acts as so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4. Interesting. Springleaf Drum. Yavamaya. Green. Broodscale. Cast Blade. The only problem is I could just be dead next turn. I mean, there's no, like I said, there's no way that they just leave this. Tap the spawn. Equip the blade. Lava dart. Here comes the lava dart. Gut shot. Now that was unexpected. So gut shot and dart to take down Broodscale. Oh, I'll be real. Was not expecting that. So now we're down to Broodscale. Two in hand. There's the dart. So Broodscale down. At this point, we just pass in full. I guess maybe there was an argument to tapping the Broodscale, maybe? No, I mean, the thought was that the spawn was what was going to eat it, not the Broodscale. Huh. Rough. Okay. Bobble, pass. I mean, at this point, all they need is something to deal a little bit of extra damage. So this is 7 down to 3. Do they have a mutagenic growth? Bolt. Yep, Bolt will do it. Bolt will do it. Unfortunate. Like I said, I knew that they were at least going to use the dart. I just was not expecting the gut shot. To be fair, I don't think it would have mattered. What if we could have played that a bit differently? Trying to think of how he would. And not exactly coming up with much. And the mutagenic growth? Okay. At this point, you're just flexing for the sake of flexing, which, I mean, you do you. I'm already very dead. Yeah, because they could have bolted my blocker and then groved. Yeah, I was very dead here. Alright, let's go to sideboard. So we want Damp Sphere. And probably Wastegate Battle Mage. TKS is a decent body. We want to keep Sire, though. We cut the Gemstone at the very least. I think I cut the TKS and cut a Ballista. And run it back like that. Yeah. Let's do that. Right now, trying to see if Sire's 7 Deaths is good here. with those final 2 slots. I think those 2 flex slots would otherwise be like an Agatha Soul Cauldron. I'm trying to think of what else it could be. Not sure. Guess another Emrakul and then maybe a Saga toolbox slot. That's an option. Tease an option. Could be like a Vexing Bauble, for example. Yeah, a consideration. Though Sire overall is a very good card. It can be very difficult for a lot of decks to deal with effectively. I was testing out Ugin, and there are just too many times where Ugin was kind of just stranded in hand. So, gonna see if Sire is any better by comparison. Opponent will bring in Consign to memory. Trying to think what else. I'd imagine just Consign. Maybe some number of Artifact Hate. I'm trying to think of what they bring in. I guess enter the Floodmaw, or into the Floodmaw. Either ways, on the play for game 2. There's Damn Sphere. There's the Lighted Halfling. There's Wasescape. Yeah, we'll keep. Go Catacombs Halfling. Burning Cat. Fetch. I will shock. For Breeding Pool, so we have access to blue. And pass. If I just play Damp Sphere, we probably just play Saga. And set up for Constructs. Go Construct Beats. Arid Mesa. Okay. Steam Vent Shock 17 for DRC. In that case, I'm thinking I want to K command the DRC so they aren't able to set up. We could go K command X equals 1 into Damp Sphere. Yeah, that's my initial thought. I guess alternatively I could just Wastegate Battle Mage, bounce it. More or less just kind of time walk them. Bauble target self. I think the Wastegate has better usages though. Target me. So yeah, I'm thinking K command X1 into Damp Sphere might be where it's at. Draw a card. Draw a card. And draw. There's Blade. Okay, so it's missing the Broodscale die. So ramp Exile. Exile DRC. Done. DRC down. As I just don't want to have them continue to sculpt their top deck because that is pretty invaluable. Not to mention the 3/3 body. What in the fresh hell are you doing? Gut shot, target self? What? I'm confused. Resolves? Huh? Why target self? Okay. Okay. Weird. Hemisphere? Pass. Very weird. Okay. Pass. Scouting Tarn. Swift Spear. Attack for 1. Yes. And draw. Wastegate. Yeah, I mean, I think just time walking them here is fine. So blue, colorless, colorless. Oh, because Dam Sphere is stopping the temple. Right. Right. Bounce. Bounces the hand. I mean, you could consign this if you really want. Didn't think so. Tis a wastegate. So we'll block next turn. Scaling Tarn fetch. Steam Vents. Chalk. For what? For Unholy Heat. Okay. Seems a bit excessive in my opinion, but sure. Paying cost for Swiss Spear, yeah. Attack for 1, sure. And draw. Another blade. I mean, I think I just make constructs at this point. I'll cast a Blade of the Blood Chief. I suppose you could consign it. We'll pass. We'll hold up Saga for a construct. No reason to do much else. Paying cost for Preordain. Triggers. The construct will be a 3/3. They have been missing land drops, which is significant. Bottom draw. Land. They did find the land. Go to combat. I'll make a construct. Opponent's Tinkin. Go to blocks. Damage. Interesting. You don't have anything else to cast? Our Saga trigger. Make a construct. Does a 4/4. Grab Springleaf Drum. Does a 5/5. Forest. Cast Blade. Springleaf Drum. Tap. Equip Blade to Construct. Maybe I should have put it to the tapped one, I suppose. More likely for the one currently being targeted to get hit. Unholy Heat. Brazen Borrower, Petty Theft. Wear Tear. Yep, that will resolve. Triggers. Always yield. No equip. I'll go to combat. Swing at you for 1. Down to 9. And passing. Steam Vents. Do you want to shock down to 7? That's a dangerous game. I would not say no. Nope. Tapped. Okay. 3 in hand. Corey Steelcut. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I will kick Wascape Battle Mage. Exile Goryo Steel Cut. And then Springleaf Drum, tap Wascape, equip the blade, go to combat, swing at you for 6, down to 3, and pass. Opponent's passing. Alright, well. Dampening Sphere. We have lethal on board multiple ways around. Just gonna stack the tax at this point. Equip blade to a halfling, I suppose. And then attack all in. I mean, Unholy Heat can deal with the construct. Sure. I should equip the blade to the halfling first. Yeah, I probably should have done that first, admittedly. Alright, equip blade to halfling. No reason to play the forest. Attack all. Pass. And Bone scoops it up. Alright, we'll take the win. Let's move on to game number 3. Damp Sphere definitely helped out there. Wascape also was great, as per usual, but no surprises there in my opinion. Bring in the gemstone, I suppose, cut a flesh rake. Run it back. Maybe right there, cut a rumble here instead? Potentially. Again, imagine opponent more or less just brings in Consign. Trying to think what else. I guess the Wear Tear we saw. Well, we didn't see them. I don't think we ever saw them with white sources, did we? Only red blue? Which seems wrong. So I'm going to assume they have white sources and we just haven't seen them. That'd be my best guess, at least. So Wear Tear, Consign, anything else? And they already run on Holy Heat, Lava Dart, Gut Shot. Man, if this hand had lands, then maybe. I guess specifically green sources. I will mulligan. I will keep. I'll pitch a halfling and done and pass. We're gonna go Saga off the bat here. Draw. Saga trigger. Pass. And Scouting Tarn. Thundering Falls. And keeps it on top. Okay. We'll pass. Tis a mountain. Goryo Steel Cut. Bobble. No. Draw. Trigger. E-Temp. Flash Rake. Pass. Next turn we can Cavernous Souls to play the Broodscale, so it's uncounterable. And we'll pass. I mean, we are primed for the combo. So they don't have the interaction that they need. Bobble. So they did have the bobble. Oh no, not necessarily. They could have drawn into it. Yeah. Unholy Heat. Target Flash Rake. Trigger Gory Steel Cut. Yep. Makes sense. Flash Rake is good bait for a reason. This does mean I can't actually win next turn, right? Yeah. There's the white source that we've been kind of looking for. Down to 18. End step. Draw. Float. Gemstone's a bit late to the party. Blade. So, I mean, we could play the Broodscale, we could equip, but then what, right? So it's probably better for me to simply play the Halfling and equip. Yeah, as annoying as that is. Cast Halfling. Equip. Pass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bolt? Really? That's aggressive, but I'm okay with this. Triggers. Okay. Because at this point we need 5 mana. Paying cost for Lava Dart triggers Gory Steel Cut on my turn. Interesting. A bit aggressive, but that means they weren't confident that they're going to have 2 spells next turn. Lava Dart actually is pretty helpful here to have in the yard too. Huh. And pass. Draw and draw. 3 damage on board. Cost for Monastery Swift Spear. I would love to see you use that Lava Dart. Two cards in hand. EI. They still have the Dart. Triggers. 3, 5, 7, 7, 8. 8 down to 9. 9 down to 8. Down to 4 if they use the Dart. The only problem is right now I can't win next turn. I A, don't have a payoff, and B, don't have a way to trigger the blade. Huh. Yeah, 8 plus 4 would be 12. 13 down to 4. 2 in hand, down to 9. End step. Draw. Saga. Just not good. No matter how I look at it. Down to 8. And then there's 8 on board, at the very least. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Actually, 9 on board. So it's looking like my main option here is to play the Broodscale and then adapt it. Cavern Souls, name Eldrazi. Oh, that's almost incorrect. The only problem then becomes that I need a payoff and a way to trigger the blade. Adapt, yes. Always yes, always yield. Yeah, it's not looking good. Between them hitting the Flesh Rake and the half lane, it set me back pretty significantly. We'll hold. We're not dead on board yet. Swift Spear, that might make it a bit more difficult. Dart target spawn. Dart target me down to 8. I have 2 blockers. Right now they're looking at 6 damage. If I block 2, right? Oh no, 8 damage. I'm just dead. Yeah, because I blocked 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, concede. You's got it. Alright. Well, unfortunately, they had the interaction necessary to interrupt what I was doing. It is what it is. We'll be back for match number 2. Alright, we're back for match 2 on the play for game 1. Let's take a look. Kind of a whole lot of nothing here, but we could make it into something, I suppose. Keep it. It's not great, but we have a ton of hits off top. Forest, Stirrings. I'll go with the Glaring Flesh Rake. And pass. And pass. Temple. Draw. Saga. Temple. Flesh Rake. Pass. Saga. Command next turn. Hedge Maze. So likely Ramp. A slow hand though for Ramp. Whoa, 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 whoa. Path of Annihilation? What? Saga trigger. What am I playing against? Attack. Pass. Huh. E-temp. End step. K command X equals 2. They could have a K command X equals 3 here to exile the Flesh Rake. Always yield. No K command for the Flesh Rake then. They could be saving it. Halfling Temple. 2, 5, 6, 7. Bottom draw. Triggers. And draw. Flesh Rake number 2. I'm gonna go Cavern of Souls, name Eldrazi. I don't know why. Just want to play around a counterspell. Trigger. ETB. Combat. Down to 11. We can put them down to 9. Do you have a K command? You do. So I was right, but I didn't want to spend it on exile and a flush rake this entire time. Ramp scry draw. Okay. What am I playing against? I mean, between the Temple and Hedge Maze, I figured ramp. But the Path of Annihilation's tripping me the hell up. Ugin's Lab. This might give us more information. Ugin. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 7, 7. Is this Emrakul? No. Path? Okay. So now your tokens have ramp. So they can basically generate 2 mana apiece. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, or 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if it's Eldrazi. Otherwise 7 for non-Eldrazi. Or I guess 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ugin's Binding. In response. Triggers. Down to 9. Yeah, the bounce isn't that great for them for obvious reasons. Paying cost. So mana value spell to bounce. Null Drift. Gain 4, draw 2, bounce. Yeah, I mean, I can't do much about that, so it is what it is. Gain 7, or gain 4 up to 13. The Null Drift will be a bit annoying, admittedly. Another Flash Rake. In that case, I'm gonna go Springleaf. Springleaf Drum. Flash Rake number 1. E-Temp. Flash Rake number 2. Springleaf Drum. Flash Rake number 3. Down to 5. Pass. And pass. And if they attack, we likely win. 3. Rumble. With... You could grab an Ugin, but you can't cast the Ugin. 1, 2, 3, 4 at most. Attacking definitely would not be in your best interest. Chooses Ugin. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 short on the Ugin. And I think all I need here is a colorless spell. And I win. Again, bouncing the Flesh Rake's not exactly advisable. And Bone scoops it up. We'll take the win. I don't know what I'm playing against, though. That makes this awkward. The Path of Annihilation seems decent for what they're trying to do. It still seems ramp-esque. Flinging Wasescape in? But I'm not sure we want to deviate from our normal plan, is the problem. Like, I don't even know if Wasescape is good. Like, the path can be good, right? That's not great. It's basically a Myco spawn without our non-kicked Myco spawn in a way. Though I guess it doubles up the mana the turn after. Kind of, yeah. Because you get 4 mana instead of 2. But you can't spend, you only can spend 2 right away. Interesting. Maybe the TKS is better than the Wasescape. I have nothing to really suggest otherwise. So I think we just keep the TKS in. Yeah, I'll just run it back as is. If only we had lands, we mulligan. Okay, that's good. I will keep. I'll pitch the TKS. Yes. Pitch TKS. And done. And pass. Lab. Imprint Talisman. Yes. Talisman of Curiosity. So they'd have blue. Could be Consign. Yavimaya. In that case, I'm thinking we go Saga. Trigger. Cast Blade. Pass. And pass. Temple. Passing. Draw. Ballista. Trigger. E-Temp. Flesh Rake. And pass. They could Cake Man X equals 3 here. Looks like it. Ramp XL? No, Scry Draw. Bold move caught him. 0 top, 3 bottom, draw. Pass. So yeah, it definitely still feels like E-Ramp, but I guess a Simic version. So I'm still confused as to why the path. And maybe it's a Writhing Chrysalis replacement. Kind of works that way, though it doesn't give you a blocker or a mid-range threat. There's holding. Okay. Draw. Trigger, float. And Springleaf. So, Forest. Forest, tap temp. So, temp mana, Forest. Trigger, always yield. Always yield. ETB. Attempt to equip. So this looks like binding. Yes. Trigger. So I can replay green, tap spawn, Broodscale, re-trigger, re-attempt to equip, and opponent scoops it up. We'll take the win. I'll still classify this as a Eldrazi Ramp because I have no idea what else I would classify it as. It seems like a Simic version, which we've definitely tested a bit, and it has never really impressed. Like, if that binding was a K return instead, the game would basically have been over. But we'll be back for match 3. Alright, we're back for match 3 on the play for game 1. Let's take a look. Yeah, we'll keep. Only downside here is that we don't have the temple for the flesh rake onto. Saga trigger, pass. So we're stuck trying to cast the Broodscale here. Pass. Undercity Sewers. Marsh Flats to yard. Draw. Ballista trigger. Verdant Catacombs. Fetch. For Forest. And we hope they don't have a Fatal Push. We'll pass. And pass. And if they do, then I think we go for Spring Leaf, we play Flesh Rake, and try and get into Sire 7 deaths as quickly as possible. Draw. Trigger, float. Fetching. Fetching for a Hollow Fountain Shock. Blade of Bloodchief. Play E-Temp. Attempt to equip. Cast Ballista X0. This way we can always adapt at instant speed. Always yield. Black blue. Tainted Indulgence is fine. I guess looking for a Solitude. Resolves. So this is Goryo's. And opponent scoops it up. Yeah, even a Solitude at that point, we play the Flesh Rake, Infinite Ballista, etc. So Goryo's Vengeance, win for game 1. Sideboard. Yeah, Goryo's a bit rough. Cage, Dismember. TCAS is decent here. Thinking maybe we cut Sire. I guess it's decent into Atraxa, but I think what Grizzbrand's an 8/8, right? We cut the Ballista, keep it like this. Yeah, let's run it back like this. Yeah, because Thief isn't doing much, Wastecape's not doing much. I guess maybe if they run Leyline Binding, but I think most of them are on Prismatic Ending instead. I guess some are on Overlord the Bailmerk, but that's kind of hit or miss. If we do see Overlord, we can always adjust. I mean, there's Cage, there's Saga, but we're missing our Broodscale. I'll keep. I'll pass. I think I go Wooded Foothills, fetch Grafdigger's Cage, Sagon 2 to start making constructs, and then Rumble. Yeah, that seems right. So opponent keeps 7, Archive, Surveil, Trigger, Frog to Yard. Okay. Draw. Cavern Souls, Wooded Foothills, fetch. Forest. Cage, pass. No Goryos for you, but they can still manage Emperor Bones. Yeah, if we didn't have the cage in hand, I'd probably go with the Saga off one, but thankfully we did. We'll pass. Land and passing? Nope, fetch. Watergrave Shock, Farfroge. Emperor Bones, okay. Emperor Bones target Frog? Nope, Foothills. In that case, we draw. Saga Trigger. I guess the one downside of Rumble here is that Emperor Bones can grab things. Yeah, not ideal. I mean, I think we just grab the TKS then. Yep, we'll grab the TKS. And pass. Go Cavern Souls to make it uncounterable. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold. Emperor Bones, target Rumble. Interesting. Okay. Take the 2. And passing. They missed their land drop. And why not take the Saga? I guess I'd only take out 1 as well. Traverse. Interesting. I guess because another Saga will hit at some point. Eldrazi. TKS. ETB, trigger. Show me what you got. Tainted Indulgence, pitching. Pitching a Grizzlebrand. Solitude, Fracture, Atroxa. I mean, all I have to see here is destroy target artifact. In that case, we'll take out the Fracture. And pass. And pass. Hits the Grizzlebrand. Not too much I can do about that. I'm not dead. I guess Grizzlebrand's actually a 7/7, so maybe Sire's decent. We block the Emperor. I mean, that's 11 damage. 11 damage. Not thrilled by the idea of blocking Emperor. We have to do it at some point, though. Then again, we're gonna have a construct. Is there a way for them to kill me? I don't think so. I'll take the 11 down to 6. Draw 7. Solitude. Hit TKS. Okay. So more or less, I blocked. Yeah, it's fine. Plains, tapped. Efem, Grizzlebrand. Grizzlebrand stays on board. That's lethal damage on board. We do have a blocker, but they have a fatal push. What do I do? Exile to Solitude. Troxa. Troxa Solitude. Draw. Trigger. K command. In that case, float. If I float, go Blade. 3. K command would push me over Delirium. There's a Saga trigger. All shields are down, we're gonna K command. Exile Emperor Bones. Ramp and exile. And done. So we're not dead yet. Alright, we'll pass. Next turn we can traverse for a Broodscale. And that will allow me to combo off into Emrakul. Now, I don't think that's going to matter. I think we lose. But we'll try. Wrath for 1. Rude. Yeah, nothing I can do there. Takes out the Saga, takes out the spawns, the Blade. Yep. Well, shoot. Always yield. Two, I have an out. 6, 8. Best case scenario is 10s. I don't think so. Draw. Rumble. What could Rumble get me? Rumble could get me Broodscale, sure. But that doesn't do enough. Right? Because we Rumble, it's a -1, so 3 down to 2. You play the Broodscale, we're at 0. So even if we were able to do all of that, there is nothing we can do. Okay. I will concede. Yeah, the Wrath was no bueno. Alright. Vel. Let's go to game 3. Cut Gemstone. Bring back in Ballista. Maybe we do want the Sire. If that's the case. Because, like, if we have a Sire, then they have to deal with that before being able to attack. I'll say Solitude's a good answer for it, of course. And I guess I could cut a Flesh Rake Ballista for Sire. Yeah, let's do that. Never a bad idea to have a backup mid-range plan. Yeah, let's open that that Grafdigger's Cage would carry me a bit further than it did. Unfortunately, Emperor Bones did do its thing. Alright, on the play for game 2, or game 3 rather. Yeah, we'll keep. I will go to main. Guess we play the Blade on 1. Forest. Blade. Pass in case we draw into a Broodscale, I suppose. Pass. Because then we have the win on 3. Draw. Another blade. Don't think there's any reason to play the second blade, though. So in that case, play the Maya. And pass. Fetch Marsh Flats. First Veil land, I'd imagine. Yep. Keeps it on top. We'll hold. I guess there's no reason to hold, actually. I guess maybe Boseiju. Eh. Frog. Pass. Would love an E-Temp. E-Temp would be good. Malevolent Rumble would be good. You have some options here. More or less we want that frog gone, though. Also, there's something to be said about trying to go after the frog when they very well could just pitch an Atrox or Grizzlebrand and then Goryo's next turn. Draw. Saga. Not my preferred card to draw there, but Saga, trigger. Cast Flesh Rake and pass. I mean, there's nothing else for me to do. I'll just pass in full. Alright, do you have the Goryos? If not, do you have interaction for the Flesh Rake? Still holding out for a Broodscale. Down to 19, draw 8 cards in hand. I imagine they're holding up interaction. I would imagine. The next turn, Breeding Pool Shock, hold up K command. Probably the best thing to do. Not playing anything would be surprising. I mean, if they didn't go for the Goryos, it means that either they don't have the payoff or don't have the Goryos, or both. If they had the Emperor Bones, I feel like they'd probably have played that. So they have to have interaction in hand. Blue, black. Okay, they have the Bones. And Polluted Delta. Solitude, it's Flesh Rake. Yep. And draw. Trigger. Stirrings. Interesting. See, Stirrings is tempting. Oh, you wouldn't be able to do anything with it. Even if you found the Broodscale, right? So, Breeding Pool Shock. Hold up the K command. I mean, this is heavily telegraphed. Blue Delta Fetch, Surveil Land. Yep. Otherworldly Gaze. And let's see what you got. Trigger. Target Solitude, that's fine. Might mean we need to get rid of the Emperor Bones rather than the Froge. Why not attack with Bones? I guess because you don't want to deal with the Construct. Right. And I'm going to take this. Yeah, because I need to get rid of Bones because Solitude. Yep. Down to 18, draws a card. K command. Ramp, exile, Bones. done. I want that Solitude gone is the biggest point here. One reason why I didn't go after the Solitude and Graves because it's potentially that we could have played directly into a Goryo's Flesh Rake. Saga tap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah, we'll just tap this for Graph Diggers. No Goryos. Ancient Stirrings. Springleaf Drum, I suppose. Any order. Cast Flesh Rake. Does Flesh Rake resolve? Play Beseiju. Cast Springleaf. Trigger. Always yield. They don't have double white, so we're not worried about a Wrath just yet. Always yield, always yield. I could play the Blade, but I think I'll just Springleaf, tap, and equip Blade to Flesh Rake. And pass. No attacks. Black, blue, Tainted Indulgence. Flagy will hold. Again, no double white. Okay, now they have double white, so they could Wrath. I feel like if they were to do so, they probably attack with a frog first. Yeah, that looks like what they're doing, actually. We'll probably Wrath for 3. We'll take the 1 down to 17. They draw a card, 6 in hand. Wrath the Skies. Yep, for 3. I'll pass. Not much can be done about that. Triggers on the stack. And draw. Dismember. Is there any reason for me to play the Blade right now? I suppose there is, if we draw into the Broodscale. Because then we could Broodscale, adapt. No, I guess not, actually. Broodscale, adapt, we won't be able to do anything with it. I guess we could always Broodscale, equip, Dismember if they have something on board. That's true. So in that case, I'll play the Blade. And pass. Not to mention they'd need a force right now for the Blade. Rather than, let's say, consign. I will hold up Dismember. And out the Graph Digger's Cage down. They're in a much better spot. Froge, yes. Froge, yes. So I can get rid of the Froge. End step. Dismember. Froge down, trigger Blade, pass. Draw. No reason to play the Blade, so I'll pass. 7-11. We are 2 short of the Emrakul. Shady Backstreet, Surveil, Trigger, Grizzlebrand to Yard. That's scary. Do you have the Goryos? If you have the Goryos, you win. No Goryos. Okay. Down to 12. Draws a card. Draw. Is there a reason to play that right now? Technically, yes. Cavern of Souls, name Eldrazi. Because now at least we can fake that we have a K command in hand. Yeah. Because now we have double colorless. Paying cost. Gaze. Surveil 3. Atrox on the Yard. Indulgence. And pass. Attack. I can't imagine anything that I play is going to resolve. Draw. He's a halfling. There's really no reason to equip. We'll pass. I'll snap block if they don't float, but I can only imagine that they will. Solitude. Solitude Exile Halfling. 5, 10, 11. That is lethal on board. Yes. Alright, let's see if they're worried about a bluff. Most pass in full. There's the Goryos. It does not matter. I'll concede. Alright. Well, we're at this, guys. Good card. Not much can be done about that. But we will be back for match 4. Alright, we're back for match 4. On the draw for game 1. Let's take a look-see. I mean, a green source would be fantastic. K-command X2 on 2 is good. We'll keep. We'll pass. Spire Bluff. Is this... Could be Wizards, could be Prowess. E-Temp, pass. And hold. In case we need to cycle. Attack of Tameo. Opponent gets a clue. Alright. And Saga Trigger. Could be... Emery. So I'm thinking this could be Cutter. Would be my thought. DRC Amber Breeding Pool. We could force check here. Yikes. Because we could get rid of the Amber. We could get rid of the Tameo. We're clearly telegraphing a command X2 next turn if we don't cast it, is the thought. The problem is we really want to scry draw. And I think we have to fire off the ramp scry draw. Let's force check. Rather than playing around a Metallic Rebuke next turn. Ballista bottom, Ancient Stirrings bottom. Please look out, give me a green source. Ooh, we have 11 hits right now. Cutter. Yep, as expected. Emery target Amber, Amber, trigger Cutter, 2. Scouting Tarn, 3 in hand, no blocks, take 2 down to 18, and green source. You have to be joking me. We'll pass. Not much can be done about that now, can it? We'll pitch a halfling. Fetch Scouting Tarn. Steam Vents, Shock. Blue, draw a card, get a clue. Halfling, pitch, pass. I think I'm in trouble. This little guy Lantern hits K command. Do you have Vivi? No, you have Matoya. Ooh. Bolt target spawn. Okay. So DRC Matoya. Interesting. 2-4. Get a clue. No blocks. Down to 14. Give me a green source, please. Blue. No. Lantern. Draw. Lantern. Play a Lantern. Why not do that before draw? Killing me here. Play Ballista. You are killing me. Pass. Trigger. I don't foresee this match going out. Draw a card. Up to 4 in hand. Thundering Falls. Trigger. Draws a card. Trigger Tamiyo. I feel like they probably would have wanted attack first. Tamiyo plus. So they'll be able to grab back the Lightning Bolt. Aether Spell Bomb? Yeah, I mean, this is looking like a GG's. Because just the Spell Bomb alone can just absolutely deck me here. Bolt. I'm thinking this is just GG's. They are shields down, but we don't have enough for Broodscale plus Blade. 1, 7, 8, 10, down to 4. Down to 4. I don't foresee a way out. K-Command X2's not bad. We could get rid of a monk, sure. We could ramp, but then we're kind of stuck once again with no green sources. We could ramp Scry Draw, find a green source. Sure, if we do that, then what? We get bolted down to 1. I don't think we have an out. I'm going to concede. So loss. This is Cutter. Sideboard. We'll want Wastegate, Battle Mage in, Dismember in. Clarion Fleshrake, Ballista, Gemstone. I'm going to say Sire and keep the TKS. Run it like this. I also could consider Thief over TKS though. Thief could take out Tamiyo, which is nice. There is some value in that. But a TKS is a decent body and can strip a card from hand, which is also good. Yeah, we'll keep the TKS over the Thief. Opponent's going to be bringing in Consign to Memory. Yeah. On the play for game 2. Halfling. A Temple gets us into TKS on 2. Otherwise, we go towards Saga. Yeah. Cast Halfling and pass. We'll go Saga on 2. We could go Ballista for 1. And pass. Steam Vent Shock. Tamiyo? Is a Tamiyo. Draw. Blade. Okay, so now we need the Broodscale. Urza Saga. Cast Ballista. Cast Blade. Pass. Hold. Get a clue. Opal. Bauble. Metalcraft. 3 mana. Fetch Wooded Foothills for Mountain. Harbinger. Matoya. Resolves. Draw. Trigger. Yavmaya. TKS. Take a peek. Full on with rough. I will pass. And pass. They could Otawara my TKS draw card. To the thought. And flip Tamiyo as well. Don't like that. Attack with Tamiyo. Trigger. No blocks. Emery. No hits in yard. Scouting Tarn. You could still Otawara my TKS is the problem. Red, white, red, white. Draw. Trigger. Okay. Float. Fetch. Thundering Falls. We have the game. Matoya draws a card. One, two. Oh, they actually have 3 legendaries, so it only costs 1 blue. Right. Springleaf Drum. Broodscale. Broodscale. Let's do it this way. Delighted Halfling, attempt to equip. Paying cost for Otawara. Bouncing. That will resolve. No equip. Breeding Bull Shock. Broodscale. Springleaf Drum tap. Walking Ballista. Attempt to equip the Broodscale. Remove a counter from Ballista. Target you. Always yield. I guess I should have. Maybe. Always yes. Debating whether or not it may have been right to play this one for 0. Bobble. Looks at the top. Deals 1. I have Ballista. So we'll go to 30. You have 1 unknown. Scoop the X1. Okay, you got it. And do they scoop? They do. I appreciate you. All right. Well, let's move on to game 3. I want this gemstone back. What do we cut for it, though? I don't want to cut any of my payoffs. We could cut TKS question mark, or do we cut Rumble? Thinking maybe TKS. Maybe. Yeah, we'll cut a TKS. And run it back. Alright, there's been a good back and forth. TKS gave me good knowledge of the play around the Otawara, which I do like. Saga. This suffers from having no green sources. We have 11 hits off top, right? I guess actually, since we're looking at Wascape, we have 13 hits off top. Yeah, we'll keep it. Pass. Breeding Bull Shock, Tameo. Soul Guide. Draw. Broodscale. Well, now I'm tempted to go for the Saga. Saga. Trigger. Pass. Hold up Dismember. Because now if we draw into a green source, we can go for the Broodscale. Saga. Hold. Emery. Trigger. Opals galore. I'll dismember the Emery now. Pass. Draw. Wascape. Trigger. E-temp. We're going to cast the Wascape, no kick. Because that way we can grab a... See, I'm thinking of grabbing a... whatchamacallit? A Spring Leaf next turn. That's my initial thought. Preordain. 4 in hand. Yeah, I think the Spring Leaf is probably... Bottom draw. The Spring Leaf is probably the best thing we could draw or get here. Draw. Traverse. Yeah, definitely want to get the Spring Leaf. Alright. Drum. Green. Tap. I guess we could traverse for a forest. Yeah, traverse for a forest, play forest, because we haven't played a land yet. Traverse. Forest. Play the forest. Wascape kick. Hit Saga. And pass. And pass. Emery. Bolt, Consign, Opal, so I have a ton of Opals in the yard. E-Temp. Start off with Stirrings. Actually, no. Yeah, start off with Stirrings. Another Saga. Saga for the blade. Yes. Saga. Any order. Play Saga. Trigger. Tap Wasescape. TKS. Bolt, Consign, Matoya. They'll be able to play the Matoya. I kind of need to get rid of the Consign, I think, though. So we'll get rid of Consigned Memory. Go to combat. Swing for 2. And pass. So they'll have 2 mana at the very least. Emery for Opal. Plays Opal. There's the Tameo. And there's Pithy Needle, Naming. Imagine Blade. Urza Saga. Okay. So they're worried about the Saga beatdown. Another Broodscale. Trigger. In that case, they have 1 bolt. I suppose we start with combat here. Down to 10. Play E-Temp. Cast Basking Broodscale. Tap Broodscale for green. Cast Basking Broodscale. And pass. And pass. They find a land. They have Matoya and Bolt in hand. So we're guaranteed our blade. We can make 1 Broodscale very big. They'll have to block the Broodscale. I think all they can do here is make blockers. Or at least set up blockers, but we get the concession. GG's. That was a fun match against Dingo. I think that's the first time I've actually run into them over on MTGO at the very least. Good stuff. Well, ended up coming up on top, and we will be going on to match number 5. Alright, we're back for match 3. On the draw for game 1, I will keep, I will pass. I'll go a Halfling on 1, Fleshraker on 2, draw. Okay. Pass. Undercity Sewers. Okay. So it could be Oculus. Yep, it is Oculus. Please don't have it on Earth on 2. That would really suck. Draw. Trigger. Drum. Oh. I have a Cavern of Souls. Methinks I should have played the Cavern of Souls. Damn it. Cast Ballista. Spell Snare. Combat. 1. Pass. Undercity Sewers. Pass. Draw. Trigger. Cavern of Souls. Name Eldrazi. Tis a Glaring Flesh Rake. Opponent realizes uncounterable. What? Blue black. Eh. Okay. Spring Leaf Drum. Always yield. Tap. Blade of the Bloodchief. Cling to Dust. Draws a card. And we'll pass. And pass. 5 in hand, 6 in yard. So they could Oculus, but don't. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean... yeah, we'll just tap it. For a blade. Saga trigger. I mean, clearly they have a counter spell, right? No way they don't. Maybe it's better for me to actually hold. Maybe I should have made a construct, actually. Yeah, it may have been better to do so. Put a blade on the Flash Rake. Put a blade on the Flash Rake. Oh, nope. Untap that. Tap you. Blade. Combat. 2. Down to 11. And holding. Their hand must be nothing but counter spells. That's the only explanation for this. And Bone skips it up. Alright, I'll take the win. Definitely stumbled through that one a little bit, but we made it work in the end. Let's see here. Wayscape can be good. Defense Grid might be decent, actually. Dismember's a yes. Grafdigger's Cage. TKS not having a cash trigger kind of makes it a bit meh. Maybe like this? Yeah, let's do this. Okay, dokie. Yeah, Defense Grid will definitely help us out here. If they're holding up a handful of counter spells. Obviously, if they're beating us in the face of Oculus, it won't as much. That's the only downside there. TKS also doesn't block well in this matchup. That's another reason to cut it. There's a thought to, like I said, bringing in Wayscape, just because it can bounce an Oculus, which is actually really good. Grafdiggers is a good addition from the side to stop the Unearth. Dismember's needed for Harbinger. You can always make Emrakul uncounterable if delighted halfling, which is always good. This matchup is where something like Agatha's Soul Cauldron in place of Sarah 7 Vest would be decent. And Agatha's Soul Cauldron does have a decent... I'm going to keep. Does have a decent whatchamacallit, open hand data as well. So, do we have Maya for Halfling or Saga? Draw. Ballista. You have Maya, Halfling. Pass. Fatal push. Fatal push. Okay. Pass. Shock. It's a Throj. He's a Throj. Draw. E-temp. E-temp's good. We could just go the Broodscale and try and go for it. Saga trigger. Broodscale. Whoop. Broodscale. Pass. Shield's down, so no better time than the present. Pass. You have more removal. Polluted Delta. Swamp. Harbinger. Harbinger's fine here, actually. So now they need a force. Otherwise we win. No blocks. 17. And draw. To the halfling. Cast Blade of the Blood Chief. Do you have a force? No force. Equip. Ballista for 0. Always yield. Always yes. Always yield. And Bone scoops it up. Without me even mentioning that I had the Ballista and K command in hand. I probably would have just told him I had the Ballista withholding the information on K command. But we ended up getting there. Alright, good stuff. So another 3-2 record at the end of 5. Honestly, some pretty hard-fought victories there. Thinking against Young Dingo and Cutter was pretty close. Oculus was pretty clear-cut. Their fatal push into Delighted Halflane was aggressive, but it worked out in our favor. Prowess. I want to say that was pretty close for the most part. And Goryo's, yeah, I mean, Wrath of Skies is a beating. I'm seeing it more and more inside now, so I wonder if people have started to wisen up about Basking Broodscale and aren't discounting it as much, would be my thought. So that's something to consider and think about as we move forward, of whether or not the deck is going to be good going into November. I mean, a lot of things can change between now and November. There was a leaked card from Edge of Eternities, which really gets my hopes up for Eldrazi Ramp, because it was a 6-mana Eldrazi. Doesn't have a cast trigger, but has a leaves the battlefield trigger, which is interesting. It has Warp, which kind of like Evoke, but it doesn't go to the graveyard. Instead, it goes to Exile, allowing you then to cast it later. So it warps, then it leaves the battlefield at end step, and then you can cast it. So it has a leave the battlefield trigger. And so what I'm really curious about is if there's going to be some busted Eldrazi that has a cast trigger and warp. So you get the cast trigger, then it warps, goes to Exile where you can cast it again. I'm just imagining how good that would be. Now, I'm doubtful that something like that's going to get printed. But stranger things have happened. Quite literally, in Magic. So I'm hopeful. Unfortunately, we're likely not to see any of the big Eldrazi Titans. I guess we still could, actually. We could still see Ulamog, but not Kozilek or Emrakul, based on the fact that this card at A was number 1, Tezzeret was number 2, both colorless. So we could still see Ulamog as well as what's that one that came in Commander for MH3? I'm forgetting. Starts with a Y. So we could still see those two potentially. But we also could see more Eldrazi with Devoid, which is really important. Obviously, we're looking for in colors green for the most part. And I guess also we could still see colorless, again, past T. So there's a lot of potential for Edge of Eternities. And I know people are calling me crazy. Not in the comments, but like people in my Discords are calling me crazy. Like, there's not going to be Eldrazi in Edge of Eternities. Like, I don't know. It's on the edge of the Blind Eternities. Feels like a great place for Eldrazi's. So I'm hopeful. I think Ramp might get a few new toys. Eldrazi Aggro, I think we'll get a few new toys. Broodscale will probably get nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm highly doubtful. But we'll have to wait and see. Regardless, though, the deck is definitely solidifying. I'm still not certain about, like, there's more or less, what, how many flex slots in the deck? Between, like, I'd say, like, six-ish flex slots right now. And I don't know. I don't know what I want to fill them with. I'm not sure if TCAS is the right call, if something like Sire's decent, if we should be bringing back Agatha Soul Cauldron, or something else. There's also thoughts around Sephiroth in placement in place of some Walking Ballista or Flesh Rake. There's a lot of good bits and pieces to play around with. Sephiroth has kind of had some okay results, so I'm not really too tempted to test it. And we've definitely seen where like Walking Ballista can be good, of course. So a lot of things to consider and test still for Broodscale to make it just a little bit better. Overall, having fun with the deck, so happy to be testing it. As Edge of Eternities comes out, we'll start looking at Eldrazi Ramp again and see if we want to test anything there. So we'll have plenty of content in the near future. But on that note, folks, that there will be the end of today's video. As always, if you did enjoy it, please do consider hitting the like button. Comment down below if you did see any lines that I missed, any mistakes that I made, or any general feedback. It'd be much appreciated. For as much that I hope that you all learn from me in both my success and failures, I hope I can learn from you all as well. Last but not least, if you have reached this point in the video and haven't already, please do consider hitting the subscribe button as we're getting closer and closer to our next goal of 1,000 subscribers. I want to say we're like 130 subscribers away, so every subscriber does matter. So please, 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 if you could, subscribe. Because at that point, I'll be able to start monetizing these videos, which will allow me to start saving up towards a streaming PC so I can stream live over on Twitch. But on that note, guys, I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye!